Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Good evening, devotees. Welcome to this Bhagavad Gita course, Gita Made Easy. So, Hare Krishna to all the assembled devotees. So, today we will be discussing from chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita as it is, based on the Bhagavad Gita as it is, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Hope my audio and screen is visible, audio is clear. So,
Yes,
today we are entering. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So, today we are starting a new section. Before going to the section, let us offer our humble prayers to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna so that we may get inspired and understand what Sri Krishna is teaching us through this divine wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimurandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desakarine Mugam Karoti Vachalam Pangun Langete Grimat Kripada Mande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shridvaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, Bhagavad Gita, we have completed first 6 chapters. That is the first section of Bhagavad Gita, which is discussing about Karma Yoga. So, various aspects of Karma Yoga we discussed in many chapters. So, how this Karma Yoga is gradually leading to Bhakti Yoga, we are going to see that from chapter 7 to 12, it is actually, the theme will be Bhakti Yoga. So, that is the middle section of Bhagavad Gita. And the Acharyas explain that Bhakti Yoga is very precious, very rare, and it is like very dear to the Lord. The yoga process, which is very dear to the Lord, is Bhakti Yoga. That's why Krishna spoke the Bhakti Yoga in the middle. Like if you take a jewel box, the box is having upper lid and there is a lower base. In between, the valuable jewel is placed. So the top cover is the Karma Yoga and the bottom base is the Jnana Yoga. And between this is the jewel of Bhakti Yoga, which is very, very dear to the heart of Lord Sri Krishna. So that's why Bhakti Yoga is present, put in the center. So it is very important part of Bhagavad Gita, this 7 to 12 chapters, which will be stressing on various aspects of Bhakti Yoga and how Lord is pleased by someone who is performing Bhakti or devotional service. And whatever Bhagavan has explained in the previous verses also, previous chapters, also it is a gradual elevation to the topmost platform of Bhakti Yoga. So we have completed the first 6 chapters. Now, today we will start the new chapter, the middle section of Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 7. So basically, if you have a quick recap on first 6 chapters. So first chapter, we know it was observation of the armies, the battlefield. Second chapter established the main identity of us, that we are not this perishable temporary body, we are eternal spirit soul, and we do not die when the body dies. So that was established in chapter 2, who am I? Our identity, which is not, we did not find out this identity through material education, through our college or schools, but the scriptures teach us that our identity is not the body which you are seeing in the mirror. It is a spirit soul, which is a living force within the body. So that is the big revelation in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, our identity. Then, if I am a spirit soul, how do I connect with my Supreme Father, the Supreme Lord? That was Karma Yoga. That is chapter 3. We discussed how by our senses, by our activities, we can connect to the Supreme Lord. Because yoga means connection. If you connect through your activities to the Lord, that is called Karma Yoga. And if I want to connect to the Lord, how can I know him? Because I just need to connect somebody. I need to have the knowledge of that person also. So that is actually 4th chapter, Jnana Yoga, who is the Supreme Father and how to know him. And 5th chapter is how the importance of cultivating spiritual life is the only means to attain eternal happiness and peace. If at all we want peace and happiness in our life, which we are hankering for, it will not be by material wealth. Material wealth may give us some comfort, but the happiness and the peace actually comes from the Supreme Lord only, because he is the reservoir of happiness and peace. And 6th chapter is about meditation, where Krishna is speaking about Ashtanga Yoga. And the main aspect of 6th chapter is Krishna is saying you have to control the mind. Controlling the mind is very, very important. Krishna is giving an analogy that the controlled mind is a friend of the conditioned soul, whereas the uncontrolled mind is an enemy. So try to become a yogi. And all those things are said in the 6th chapter. And in the 6th chapter, the last sloka says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgate antaratmana. Among all these yogis, whoever I discussed so far, the best yogi and the topmost yogi is the yogi who is always thinking about me in his heart. That is bhakti-yoga. So, another quick glance, we'll go. The part 1, Karma Yoga, chapter 1 to 6. Chapter 1, Arjuna observes the armies and he becomes so much emotionally disturbed by seeing his relatives. And he's thinking that how can I kill my own relatives just to win the kingdom? So he drops the bow. And Dhritarashtra is becoming very hopeful when Arjuna is dropping the bow, because he knows that if Arjuna will go retract back, his sons will win the kingdom. So at the time, the whole turning point happens. So Arjuna accepts Krishna as the guru, and Krishna describes whatever we said, the identity of our real identity, different types of overview of entire Bhagavad Gita is giving in 2nd chapter, Sakama Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga. All those things, overview is given 2nd chapter. That gradually leads to the 3rd chapter, which is the connecting verse, is 2.49. The verse 2.49 in 2nd chapter, Krishna is telling to Arjuna, keep away all the abominable actions far away by Buddhi Yoga. That is a verse actually. Don't do bad things. Establish in Buddhi Yoga. So Arjuna now is confused. This war is actually abominable action. So why you are again asking me to fight? Which is better, renunciation or action? So that leads to 3rd chapter, where Krishna says, action based on Nishkama Karma Yoga, that without desire, if you are doing some activity, that is good. But if you don't do activity and you renounce, premature renunciation, then you will go do unwanted things and you will become a burden to the society. So then Krishna is presenting a 3rd chapter, lust. On the path of spiritual path, the lust or kama is the enemy or obstacle for us to progress in spiritual path. So how do we remove this lust? So Krishna is presenting the 4th chapter called transcendental knowledge, by which one can be protected from the bondage of lust. So 4th chapter, when Krishna is giving transcendental knowledge, Krishna is saying this knowledge, how it is coming through parampara, descends from Krishna himself through the disciplic succession. And also Krishna explains his divine nature. Sambhavami yuge yuge, dharma samsthapanala. I come down every yuga from upper limb, from the spiritual world. The Lord is coming down out of his causeless mercy every yuga to protect the sadhus and to annihilate the demonic people. And if you know about the Lord's appearance and activities, we can get liberated from this material world and we can go back to the kingdom of God. And how to know about God also, it is said that you have to approach a bona fide guru, who is actually a genuine person who is always serving the Lord. From him, we can understand about the Supreme Lord. And from there, 4th chapter, the connecting factor is Krishna is again the 4.39, like 2.49, again 4.39. Krishna is speaking about jnana, 4.39, and also saying about renouncing karma by jnana, 4.41, but again asking Arjuna to take up karma yoga. So first he is telling renouncing the karma by jnana. By getting knowledge, you can renounce karma. That is 4.39. in 4.41, but again in 4.42, Arjuna is asked to take up the Karma Yoga, means again to fight. So Arjuna is asking about again which is better, sannyasa or Karma Yoga, 5.1. So in that way, again Krishna is clarifying more, again in more detail about the same Karma Yoga which he presented in the chapter 3, that is Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. Krishna says both are good. Renunciation, sannyasa is also good. At the same time, Karma Yoga also good. Again, he's saying the same thing. If you are idle, thinking that you have already got perfect, your mind is like idle mind is devil's workshop. You will fall down. So he's saying that you do activity again without desire for fruits. Nishkama Karma Yoga frees one from bondage. And further leading to that, the 5th chapter end is saying how we can attain peace and happiness by knowing that there is God who is controller of everything, and at the same time he is well-wisher of everyone. And who knows this fact, he will be always in peace. And then he is giving a glimpse of Ashtanga Yoga in the chapter, end of the chapter 5. That detail is telling, explaining more detail in 6th chapter about Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga as 2 stages. Yoga Ruruksha, beginning stage of Dhyana Yoga is Yoga Ruruksha, and Yoga Ruda is advanced stage of Dhyana Yoga. And Ashtanga Yoga has various practice like, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, like that. So that Dhyana Yoga is mainly to realize the super soul or Paramatma who is situated within our heart. In the yoga, it is necessary to control the mind. We know that mind is very, very important factor in our spiritual practice. And detachment. Then about Krishna speaks about unsuccessful yogi. What will be his destination? Krishna will give another opportunity. Even if you fail in the spiritual practice, he will give you some suitable human body where you can resume from where you have left in the previous birth. And the last part of verse is 6.47, where Krishna is saying, Yoginam api sarvesham madgate antaratmanam shraddhavan bhajato yomam. So Bhakti Yogi is the topmost yogi. So now he has concluded everything. So about Bhakti Yogi. Now Krishna says that Bhakti is the highest form of yoga. From chapter 7, he describes the Bhakti Yoga elaborately. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 6 chapters, Krishna is only going to speak about Bhakti Yoga. So this chapter 7 is entitled Knowledge of the Absolute or Bhakti Yoga. That means knowledge of the Absolute means we are going to get the knowledge about God himself. So far we got knowledge about God, spirit, soul, the 2nd chapter. And we got knowledge about how to do Karma Yoga. And also we got knowledge about Jnana Yoga. Then we got knowledge about Ashtanga Yoga. Now, here we are going to get knowledge about God himself. Who is God? What is his mood? What is his liking? How people approach God? What is his nature? Like everybody, like we also have some nature. We are saying this person is very soft nature. This person is having, like short-tempered in nature, like that. So here, the chapter 7 is knowledge of the absolute, means we are going to understand about the knowledge about God himself. That means we are going to try to see God through the words of scriptures. That's why it's called seeing God. Okay. So very important, nice chapter. So chapter 7 is best of all yogis, is Bhakti Yogi. Chapter 7 is knowledge of absolute. Begins, so Krishna starts this process. If you want to know about God, we should start with hearing. Very, very important. The hearing, see, like we are hearing Bhagavad Gita now, we are getting some clarity. We are getting some enlightenment. So hearing is very, very important. From childhood, also we started getting material knowledge by hearing. The teacher told us this is apple. When you hear the word apple, then you see the word apple. Then we get material knowledge. Like that, spiritual things also the knowledge starts by hearing. That's very, very important. That's why in the Navavida Bhakti, it is said that Shravanam Kirtanam. So first is Shravanam. First you start hearing. We hear so many things about news. We hear about movie, so many things. But when we start hearing about God every day, then naturally our knowledge on God will improve, will increase gradually. So first part is knowing Krishna by the process of hearing about him. So that is hearing. Shravanam is very important. And also we are going to know here that Krishna is the source of both material and matter and spirit. We have a material body, which is made of material elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. And also we are a spirit soul within. Both source. What is the source of material body? Krishna only. God. Or what is the source of the spirit? That also Krishna only. Okay, that also we are going to understand. Krishna also controls the modes of material nature. This material nature is controlled by 3 modes. Sattoguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. 3 gunas are actually controlling this material world. Somebody is in Sattoguna, somebody in Rajoguna, According to the guna, only one person will respond, or the psychological characteristics of a person is based on the guna. Somebody is short-tempered because he's in the rajoguna. Somebody is very calm, clear because he's in sattoguna. So that mode is also controlled by Krishna only. And Krishna also talks about the people who surrender to God, 4 kinds of people who try to surrender to God or approach God, and the 4 kinds of people who will not surrender to God. That also is said here in this chapter. Krishna also introduced a very, very important topic, which is little bit, we are like from a childhood, we are like praying to many gods from our culture. So Krishna is talking about the demigods. Demigods means there are so many demigods who are running the material affairs under the supervision of Krishna. And impersonalism means we are thinking God is not having a form. God is formless. So on those aspects also, Krishna is touching here in the last section about demigod worship and impersonalism. And also, if we know all Krishna is controlling, Krishna is doing, Krishna is the source, Krishna is controlling, then why we do not know about Krishna so far? That's the last is telling why the Jivatma living entity is not able to understand me even though I am the supreme. That also Krishna is giving the answer in the end. Okay, so let us go into the section now. Knowledge of the Absolute, chapter 7. Whether it is your next holiday destination or the choice of university for your studies, like we are all very much worried of our children's studies. From the 10th standard itself, 11th standard, we start, selecting the universities, which university is good. Or when we want to travel, we are planning so much. Or the next restaurant for the next week's birthday party. Most things in life require some research. We are always going into Google. We are seeing the reviews. We are seeing whether it is really worth to go there. Pros and cons. While we may value our gut feelings, we simultaneously utilize our intelligence and exercise discrimination. So we are doing some research for anything which we are undertaking. The same goes for spirituality also. Spirituality is not an exemption. Before taking into spiritual path, it is not simply a sentimental impulse or practice. It is not that everybody is praying to Krishna, I will also pray to Krishna. It is not like that. It is not like everybody goes to Sabarimala, I also go to Sabarimala. Not like that. It is not simply a sentimental impulse or practice. It requires intelligent research. Here also we need to research why I should worship Krishna, why this Bhagavad Gita should be given importance. Is this Bhagavad Gita will help me in my life? In what way it will help my life? All these things, intelligent research and information gathering. It is an affair of head and the heart. The head is having intelligence, the heart is having love. So we are trying to connect intelligence and love together. Intelligence means you are getting knowledge of Lord, and heart means we are trying to express our devotion through our heart. So both is combined now. Head for knowledge, intelligence. Intellectually you should be convinced, and from heart we should try to express emotion, the love to the Supreme Lord. So Einstein once stated that religion without philosophy is simply a sentiment. Very important statement. We all should note down. A religion which is not having any philosophy, it is just a sentiment. Sentiment means just an emotional affair. So any religion should have a proper philosophy. What is that philosophy means? Who am I? Who is God? What is my relationship with God? Why I am here? What is my destination after this life? And why am I subjected to suffering? These are all questions of philosophy. So we have so many philosophies in various religions, like Christianity, we have Bible, and Quran we have for Islam. So we have also philosophy called this Bhagavad Gita for our Sanatana Dharma. And religion without philosophy is simply sentiment. And in more acute situation, downright fanaticism. What happens when there is no philosophy? People even kill others. If you don't pray to my God, I will kill you. Because that is called fanaticism. Fanaticism means it is like kind of extremism. Sometimes we know that there are people who are called extremists. What they do, if you don't pray to my God, I will kill you, simply. That is not correct because they don't have a proper philosophy. In chapter 7, entitled Knowledge of the Absolute, Krishna delineates certain philosophical truths. See, here we are going to get the knowledge. Philosophical truths to instill. Why he is giving this philosophical truth? To instill confidence and conviction in the process of bhakti-yoga. Even though bhakti-yoga may look like sentiment, but there is a sound philosophy backed up for this bhakti-yoga. Externally, we may see people in front of Lord, they are singing bhajans, their tears are coming in the eyes. Somebody coming new, they say, oh, these people are sentimental people, they are simply crying in front of the Lord or simply dancing. So we may think like that, but there is deep knowledge behind these signs. That is which is expressed in the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So chapter 7, we are going to discuss with an acronym called HEAD. HEAD means H stands for hearing, E stands for everywhere, A stands for accept or reject, and D stands for demigods. So these are the 4 topics we are going to discuss today. So there are total 30 verses. That means basically it's a small chapter, but very important chapter. H for hearing. Already Krishna said hearing is very important to know about the absolute truth. So first 3 verses, Krishna is speaking about the importance of hearing. Second E is for you can see God everywhere. We should not think only God is situated in the kingdom of God. If we practice, we can see God everywhere, even the material elements like water, air, everywhere. Because Krishna says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya, means I am the taste in the water. That means when you are very much thirsty in the summertime, you just take one glass of water, you feel so happy. That water looks so tasty. He's saying that taste in the water is I am the taste in the water. So like that, we can see God everywhere. There's material creation also. That is 4 to 12. And there are 4 categories of people who accept God. And there are 4 categories of people like atheist, like that. There are 4 categories who will reject that there is no God in this world. Okay. So that is 13 to 19. And Krishna also says that there are people worshipping so many gods. When we say the concept of Hinduism, everybody argues that my God is supreme. So there are people worshipping Vishnu, people worshipping Shiva, people worshipping Kartikeya, people worshipping Ganesh. So there is always a confusion who is the Supreme Lord and whom we should worship. So that concept is given demigods in 20 to 30 verse. Okay. So this is the first verse. Krishna is saying, you see the very nicely saying, Krishna is telling, hear from me. See, Sri Bhagavan Vacha. The first verse starts. So the first verse goes like this. This is 7.1. What is the first verse? Krishna is telling, hear from me. Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayaha Asamshayam Samagrammam Yatanyasya Sita Chruno. Now here, see the first itself opening statement itself, Krishna is telling Bhagavan Vacha. Supreme Lord said, now here, he's telling to Arjuna, here, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, if you think about me and practice yoga in the stage, with mind attached to me, the whole spiritual practice is the mind should be attached to God. If your mind attached to me, you can know me in full. You will get my complete knowledge about me, free from doubt. Ashamshayaha. You will not have any doubt about God after that. That is a process. Our mind should be somehow or other attached to God. So this Bhagavad Gita helps us, chanting helps us, association of devotees helps us to fix our mind or attach our mind to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So this is very, very important. This is an opening statement of, opening verse of Bhagavad Gita 7.1. Maya Sakta Manapartha Yogam Injan Madashrayaha Asamshayam Samagram. Asamshayam without Samagram Mam. You will know me full. Samagram means full. Yata Nyasi Tachrunu. Just hear. Get this knowledge just by hearing. So how to gain perfect knowledge about the Supreme Lord? So hearing verses. So let us see first 3 verses. Modern thinkers often posit a notion that proving everything empirically. So in science, we want to prove everything, right? Rejecting anything which cannot be directly perceived by our senses. Because we are not able to see God by our physical eye, we reject that. Where is God? Sometimes we go to the space and see, and we see only the galaxy and all those things. People ask, where is God? No, there is no God. While this may seem a logical, objective, and rational approach, it has inherent limitations. Still, there is defect in this kind of approach also by your physical eye. How do you understand those things beyond our immediate perception? Something is not able to perceive us. For example, if you wanted to know what in BBC was showing tonight, the most obvious approach would be to consult a TV guide. You could subsequently verify by actually watching the programs. In other words, we can't depend on our sensory experience to provide all the answers. Because only by this jnana, this chakshushu, like eye, ear, nose, if we rely on this only to understand God, it is not possible. Accepting a higher authority opens up a new opportunity to experience truth directly. Very important. There are authorities like people, saintly people who have experienced the love of God. When you accept their authority, that is actually more reliable. Krishna begins this chapter by stressing the absolute necessity of hearing from the spiritual sources, not from material sources, to understand the universal realities. This is known as descending path of knowledge. So basically, there are two paths of knowledge, ascending path and descending path. What is ascending path? Ascending path means you are doing research and trying to find out the truth. Like the scientific discoveries or invention, scientific invention is all ascending path of knowledge. You try to do some research, you invent the machine, you invent the telephone, mobile phone. This is ascending knowledge by research. There is another path. This is from bottom to up you are going. Another path is called as descending path or avaroha pantha. One is aroha pantha, ascending path. Avaroha pantha means descending. In descending path, you just get knowledge from the higher sources. Example, if you want to know if I want to know who is my father, the easiest way, instead of more than doing a DNA sampling of so many male, I just ask my mother. My mother says he is your father. I accept her authority and I accept that he is my father based on my mother's statement. That is accepting higher authority. So I can save my time, energy, and everything. Otherwise, what I have to do, if I want to do research, who is my father, I have to collect sample of all the DNAs of so many people and go to the lab and test one by one. And it may take many years sometimes. So a descending path means, as the mother is telling who is our father, that is called as accepting authority. So basically, the scripture says there are three ways to acquire knowledge. One is Pratyaksha Praman, Anumana Praman, and Shabda Praman. Pratyaksha Praman means you are trying to get knowledge by your senses, by eyes, ears, nose, everything. Anumana Praman means you are trying to use your intelligence and mind to get some knowledge. We are doing this in our day-to-day life. We are doing all these things, we studied in our school by Pratyaksha Praman, like Apple, we do everything. Anumana Praman, when you are playing some games, chess or something, you are using your intelligence to know how to get that, play that. Shabda Praman means hearing from the right sources. That you get as Shabda Praman. So here is the example. How can a child know who is my father? So how do we know that? We know by the authority of the mother. Therefore, one has to learn from Krishna directly. How do you know about God? Either directly you listen from God or from a pure devotee of Krishna or who is devoted to the Lord, you hear from him. That is called spiritual master or guru. And not from a non-devotee upstart. So somebody who does not believe in God, and if you go and ask him that I want to know something about God, he will tell, why are you wasting your time? There is actually no God. So you should always get the knowledge of God either directly from God himself or a person who is devoted to, who has devoted his entire life to God. Okay, that is important. Suppose if I want to know something in my eye, whom should I go? I should not go to any layman and ask there is some problem in my eye. No, I go to the eye specialist because he has devoted his half of his life to study about eye, MBBS, MD like. So he will be telling what is your exact problem. So if you want to know about God, don't go to any normal person. You have to hear from God or go to the person who has dedicated his life for serving the Lord. From him only you can get knowledge of God, not from any other person. Somebody is having a PhD in material education. He is having 5 PhD. Not necessarily you will have knowledge about God because it is not his subject of, he has not dedicated any of his time to know about God. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. So we have to underline this statement. If at all we want to know about Krishna, who is the speaker of this Bhagavad Gita, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, it is only possible by 2 ways. There is no third way here. Only 2 ways. Hearing from Krishna directly in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya Sakta Manapata Yogam Injan Madashreha, hear from me. Or from the devotee who has dedicated his life in serving Krishna. Otherwise, if you go to any other person apart from these 2, you will not understand Krishna. So that is, we have to understand the process of bhakti-yoga. So here Krishna is telling how to develop attachment for Lord Krishna by the process of hearing. Bhagavan Vacha Maya Sakta Manapartha Yogam Injan Madashreya. Asamshayam Samagramam Yata Nyasi. Hear about Lord Krishna. So that is what we have. Tachrunu. Tachrunu means hear about him. You hear about God. And Samagramma means gain knowledge. When you get knowledge, then what happens? Your consciousness changes. Spiritual life is not changing external dress. It is changing our internal consciousness. We should always know that God is there. Everything is under the control of God. Gain knowledge and change in consciousness. And asamshayam, by this process, you become free from doubt. People who are in Krishna consciousness, they have no doubt about God. They have no confusion that who is God. They are very much fixed up that Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. Become free from doubt. Number 3, Madashreya. Once you know he is the Supreme Lord, We want to take shelter of a Madhashraya. We will take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Yogam Injan. How do you do that? By practicing yoga process. What kind of yoga Krishna recommended? Bhakti yoga. By this, what we are doing this bhakti yoga, we are trying to attach our mind to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. So this is how we develop attachment to Krishna. First starting is hearing. By hearing, you get knowledge. When you get knowledge, your doubts you become free of doubts. When you become free of doubts, you take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna and you start taking bhakti yoga in the process by which your mind become attached to Krishna. This is a cycle. How we can perform this attachment to Supreme Lord. So this is, you can see some examples are given here. Here Rukmini, Rukmini is a consort of Lord Sri Krishna. How did Rukmini marry Krishna? She was somewhere in remote other kingdom, but she was always hearing the glories of Krishna through many people. By that, she started developing love for Krishna and eventually she married Krishna also. And Prahlad Maharaj was constantly remembering on Narsimhadev Bhagwan. Always he was remembering Vishnu. And then one day, when there was complete threat to his life, Lord Vishnu appeared in the form of Narsimhadev and killed his father Hiranyakashipu and protected his devotee Prahlad Maharaj. And why we are talking about so much about Bhagavad Gita? Because we heard about the pure devotee of the Lord, Sri Krishna, Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who tirelessly went to the Western world at the age of 70 years and given this knowledge to the Western people and converted them into the pure devotees of the Lord and traveled 108 times around he established 108 temples all around the world from the age of 70 years to 80 years. And he written all these scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, from Sanskrit to English, so that we may all read and get benefited. So that is also process of hearing from him. We are becoming devotee of Krishna. So now Arjuna is pondering, can you show me God? Okay, so Arjuna is thinking, now I am Maya Sakta Manapartha. Arjuna is thinking, how can we see God? How can we show God? So the next verses is how to see God while we are living in this material world. So Krishna actually is everywhere. That is expressed from verse number 4 to 12. By hearing from authorized spiritual sources, one can acquire profound knowledge of the divine. In answer to the common challenge, some people say, oh, you believe in God. Can you show me God? People ask questions like that. Krishna cites the analogy of pearls strung on a thread. Here one important verse Krishna is saying, you will see that. The pearls are perfectly strung and arranged in a necklace. We all know. Pearl necklace is there. While the thread remains completely invisible. We cannot see the thread, only we are seeing the necklace. Similarly, God designs, creates and sustains the entire universe, yet remains invisible to the immature observer. So we need basically qualification. I will give you an example. Like our car is not functioning, working properly. The car is not starting. You are opening, you are not able to see anything. But if you take it to a mechanic, he is opening, he understands what is the problem, he rectifies and your car starts. Even if to understand the trouble in a car, you need an expert mechanic. Then if you want, that means you need some qualification to understand about the car. What about God? If you don't have the qualification, definitely we cannot see God, even if he is standing in front of us. That's why for an immature observer, he thinks there is no God. The extreme intricacy and sophistication of the creation, what we see, our own body itself, however, naturally indicates the presence of an higher intelligence. Definitely we know by the arrangement of our things. If you take our mobile is only like camera is 20 megapixel, 30 megapixel, like that maximum. Our eye is having a resolution of 374 megapixel. So if this mobile did not come by accident, somebody has manufactured it, how can we say this eye has come by accident? 374 megapixel. So if you study deeply science, we understand there is a creator. So Krishna further explains that how is the essence? He is the essence in everything within the creation. What is the essence? The taste of the water is Krishna or God. The light of the sun, the ability in the man or the capability in the man. In this way, through the eyes of knowledge, Sastra Chakshu, by the eyes of the knowledge, one can learn to see God everywhere. So that is verse number 4 to 12, where we are going to see the material energy, which Krishna is speaking, 7.4. Krishna is speaking about our material body or the material energy. Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kammano buddhi revacha ahankara ityambe binna prakriti rastada. That means earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All together, these 8 constitute my. This means you underline the word my. Means Krishna is telling these are my separated energies. So whatever you see here, water, fire, air, ether, Panchabhutas, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all are Krishna's separated material energy. What is separated material energy? Now I am speaking in this microphone. This is recorded in YouTube. And tomorrow when we share that link, that is called separated energy. Now I am directly talking. Once it is recorded and shared, it becomes a separated energy. So that in that way, Krishna's energy is separated like this material energy. Now what about the spirit soul within us? We are spirit soul, right? We understood from chapter 2. Krishna is saying 7.5. We said this, there is another superior energy of mind. So these are my material energy. This is called inferior energy of God. These Panchabhutas are called as inferior energy of God. Apart from this, there is superior energy of God. What is the superior energy? Another superior energy of God, which comprises of the living entities, that's Atma, who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So the superior energy Atma of God is exploiting the inferior energy of God here in this material world as a form of resources. We are drilling the earth, we are taking gold, we are taking diamond, we are taking crude oil, we are taking lignite, coal, we are taking resources, magnesium, potassium, sodium, and we want to enjoy God's property. So the soul, the superior energy of God, apareyam itastanyam, prakriti me vidhi me param, jiva bhuta mahabhaho ye dhyarite jagat. Ye dhyarite jagat. 7.5. Superior energy of God, Jivatma, is actually in this material world and trying to exploit the inferior energy of Supreme Lord, separated energy. Now, existence of God. The unseen is proven by the seen. The unseen is proven by the seen. How do you know that? You are not seen God, but we can see by proof that there is God by the seen. What is that? Krishna is giving the 7.7 verse, important verse. Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protram sutre maniginam. See, boldly Krishna is declaring, no scripture in this world. There are, we know, 3 main scriptures in this world, Bible, Quran, and Bhagavad Gita. So Bible always refers to the God, Supreme Lord, no? My Father in heaven. Jesus Christ never claimed that he is God. He always said, my Father in heaven. And Prophet also, he always says that Allah is the Supreme, and he never said, he said, I am the messenger of God. But Gita declares that not somebody is God. Here, Krishna is declaring, oh, conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. You have to underline this line. Matta Bharataram Nanyat. There is no truth superior to me. Everything is resting upon me as a pearls are strung on a thread. So we are all searching God. Where is God? Who is God? Here Krishna is telling, I am God. There is no truth superior to me. You can go to any Bhagavad Gita and understand this. Matta Bharataram Nanyat Kinchides. So how is that? Everything, whatever planets you are seeing, all are resting upon me. How it is resting upon me? As the pearls are strung on a thread. That means I am the thread, and all these planets are floating in this vast, infinite space, and I am the thread which you are not able to see. The moment if I pull the thread, all the planets will fall down. All the planets will collapse. All the planets will not run in that orbit. Okay. So here it is very clearly declared, the unseen is proven by the seen. Matta parataram nanat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvavidam protram sutre maniganaiva. O conqueror of wealth, Dhananjaya, there is no truth superior to me, there is no higher truth. That means I am the supreme. Everything rests upon me. Whatever material world and spiritual world is resting upon me. How it is resting? As pearls are strung on a thread. It's like the Krishna is telling. So, cause and effect. What is cause and effect? If there is an effect, there is a cause. If you see an arrow coming, that means somebody has released the arrow. Okay. If you see a puppet show, behind that there is a puppeteer who is operating the puppet. Like that, we are seeing satellites all around the earth. There are many satellites which is launched by all the space research organizations. Like we have ISRO in India, we have NASA in America. So these are like satellites going around the planet. What happens? The earth is also like a satellite. Now, if you tell this satellite is not controlled by anyone, it is foolish. Because this satellite is monitored, controlled, and data is collected by the space research. Everything is designed properly, correctly, trajected in the proper path. Everything is there. So there is an organization controlling this satellite. Now, according to nature, this Earth is also considered as a satellite around the sun. So it is also having a mass of 6 into 10.21 metric tons, so much heavy. and the speed around the sun is 106,000 kilometers per hour. So this is also on satellite. Now, do we think that when this satellite is controlled by ISR or NASA, do you think the Earth satellite is not controlled by anybody? Who is in control of this satellite? This Earth satellite, who is in control? So, as we say, NASA, SpaceX, all these organizations. So, is there a God in control of things? So, now we are seeing, yes, there is God, and we can see that God everywhere. Seeing Krishna everywhere, we are seeing unseen is proven by the seen, like how the pearl, thread, say the pearl necklace is strung by a thread. And we also saw the cause and effect, like a satellite is controlled. Similarly, this Earth is also controlled in the orbit by the power of God. Okay. Here are some of the key lessons that we also read about the Jivatma. The Lord and the Jiva are never equal. Engage Lord's material in his service, and Krishna is the essence and cause of everything. Because he is the source of, we say that he is the source of the material energy, separate energy. Bhumi raponala vayu kammano buddhi revacha. Ahankara mityame vinna prakriti astada. Okay, that is material energy. What about spiritual energy? Apareyamitasthanyam prakriti me vidhi me param. Jiva bhuta mahavao yedam. The spiritual energy also my superior energy. So everything it is his essence. Now Arjuna is thinking, why is there still wholesale denial of Supreme Lord? So if there is so much clear-cut evidence, why don't people accept God? Many people say there is no God. Why they don't accept you? That is a question. So now comes the third section, accept or reject, 13 to 19. So there is a Krishna's Maya. This is one more energy coming into picture. So the Lord has many, many energies. Parashraya Sakti Vividya Sriyate. The Lord has innumerable energies. Out of that innumerable energies, they are categorized into three. Bahiranga Shakti, Antaranga Shakti, Tatata Shakti. Bahiranga Shakti means external energy. So in that external energy, there are many energies. In that one energy is called Maya. Maya means illusion. That is Krishna's magical spell. And based upon his piety and knowledge. So if you are not pious, if you don't have proper knowledge also, we will also reject God. If you are not pious, means you are not basically a good person, we will not have belief in God. So based on these two things, people may accept or reject of existence of God. So Krishna is, what is Krishna's magical spell? Krishna is talking on 7.13. Very nice verse here. Why people don't accept there is a God? Krishna is telling, Trivir Gunamair Bhaver, Evi Sarvam Idam Jagat, Mohitam Nabi Janati, Mam Yabhya Param Abhyayam. So Krishna is telling, my Maya is there here in this material world, it is working very actively. Deluded by the three modes, Satoguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, goodness, passion, and ignorance. The whole world, not one country, the whole world does not know me. That's why people do not know about Krishna much. The whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. I am above the three modes, but this world is deluded by the three modes. That's why people do not know me. I am above the three modes and I am inexhaustible. Inexhaustible is God is eternal. He will be never destroyed at any juncture of time. Inexhaustible. Okay, so Tribir, you see the word very clearly. Tribir means three. Guna, Mayir, Bhaver. My gunas are there. Evi Sarvam Idam Jagat. This full Jagat, the earth is covered by that. Mohitam, they are like put into illusion. Nabi Janati, they do not know about me. Mam Ebhya, but I am supreme. Param means I am supreme. Abhyayam, inexhaustible. So, this is Krishna's magic spell that if you are not sincere in spiritual life, you cannot understand God. Never at any point of time, you cannot understand God. That is Krishna's magic spell. The three modes keep the conditioned soul forgetful of the self. We do not know that I am soul, and we don't know there is a supreme soul called Krishna. Because what is the reason? What is the root cause? Because of the influence of the three modes. You can see the picture, like how we are controlled. We think we are taking independent decisions. No. Actually, according to Bhagavad Gita, we are controlled every moment. Our decisions, our thoughts, our mood, everything is controlled by these three modes. You can see the three divine ladies, they are controlling. How they are controlling? It is by our mode. Like suppose I am in Sattoguna, I think in a certain way. If I am in Rajoguna, I am thinking in a certain way. If I am in Tamoguna, I become a terrorist. I think in different way. I do a lot of harm to the society. There are a lot of terrorists doing harm to the society. There are Sattvic people, they are doing so much constructive work for the society. And there are Rajasic people who just want to enjoy their life and leave this earth. So, now there is a question, how we get covered by the material energy? Why did we get covered from this material energy? Arjuna pondered, how do we overcome this illusion? Now we said, Krishna is saying, that yes, because of this illusion, Trivir Gunamayir Bhaver, so because of this illusion, this whole world does not know me. Now, if this illusion is removed, I can know about Krishna. How to overcome this illusion? So Krishna is telling, take my shelter. See, very beautiful verse here, 7.14. Daivi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mam Eva Ye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarandite. Very beautiful verse. Daivi Esha Gunamayi, this divine energy of mine. Krishna is telling, this is my energy. This Maya or illusion is my energy. And Devi, this is a divine energy of mine. This Maya consisting of three modes of material energy, Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamaguna. And it is difficult to overcome. Maya, Mama Maya, Duratya. Say Krishna is telling my Maya is difficult for you. If Krishna is telling something easy, that itself will be difficult for us. Now Krishna is declaring it is difficult. My Maya, it is not easy for you to cross over because it is very difficult. Because it is Krishna's energy. So it will not be easy. Mama Maya, Duratya. So we can think, oh, there is no scope to me. No. Krishna is saying, yes, there is scope. Mam eva ye prapadyante. Mayam etam tarandite. Very clearly says, Mam eva ye prapadyante. If you surrender to me, Mam eva ye prapadyante. Mayam etam. You easily cross over this Maya. Easy. Now it becomes easy. But those who are surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Very simple. If we surrender to the Supreme Lord by Bhakti Yoga, easily this Maya curtain will be removed from our heart. This is the understanding of this verse. Example, if you are going to some person's house, he is having a dog, big dog, very hybrid dog, very tall, very stout. The moment you are going, there is already beware of dog. So the dog is like Maya. It will not allow you to go to your friend's house. What happens is as soon as you enter the gate, it will start barking and shouting and running and jumping. So you will be terrified. How to go inside now? You will stand in the gate, whether to go back to your home or to call your friend. Finally, by hearing the dog sound, your friend is coming out in the balcony. He is seeing that you are already come near the gate, but the dog is out. Then he is calling the dog, Jimmy, leave him. Once when the person, the owner of the dog is telling that word, immediately the dog immediately wags his tail and goes inside the cage or goes and sits silently. Then you can go into the house. Like that, Krishna's energy is this Maya. When somebody is sincerely trying to surrender to Krishna or trying to do Bhakti Yoga, Krishna says to his energy, no, now he has become, very intimate to me, close to me. Leave him. Don't trouble him anymore. Mama Maya, Duratya, when you try to surrender Maya, that Maya will become our friend. It will no more harm us. That is what understanding. Devi Yesha Gunamayi, Mama Maya, Duratyaya, Mameva Prapadyante Maya. So Krishna is telling what is the problem in the first two lines. Krishna is telling what is the solution in the third and fourth line. So we should take advantage. So Krishna's mercy is there for everybody. Prabhupada says if you take it, Krishna's mercy, that is your fortune. But if you don't take Krishna's mercy, that is our misfortune. So this is 7.14. Now we are going to the 4 kinds of people who are surrendering and 4 kinds of people who are not surrendering. Accept or reject, verse number 13 to 19. If God can be perceived everywhere and his existing is so strikingly obvious, why is there still wholesale denial of him? Many people, especially Western countries, many people are atheist. Resisting forceful compliance, Krishna endows each individual with a free will. Krishna does not force us that you should believe in him. No, he is giving us a freedom to fly their own plane. So Krishna has given us freedom and decide where to repose his faith. So it is our decision whether we want to keep faith in God or no. He describes the 4 types of people who reject God due to their preoccupation in worldly life. If I am very busy in the worldly life, maybe I don't want God in my life. So I reject him. And 4 types of people who do accept God. And so there are 2 categories Krishna is going to talk with a different degree of selfish intent. In conclusion, it's a rare soul in this world who is able to approach God free of ulterior motives. Everybody goes to God, but with some motive. But it is a rare soul who is able to approach God free of, without any ulterior motives and enter into selfless relationship of love. That level of spirituality, Krishna may take, for Krishna says, it may take thousands of births. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanaman ma prapadyante vasudevam sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. Krishna says somebody is coming with pure intention to me to love me. That soul is very, very rare. That takes many, many births to come to that stage. Now, 4 kinds of people who will not surrender to God. That is, first is Muda. means who are grossly foolish. For them, always they will work. That's all. Work like donkeys. They are always very hardworking people, and they don't have time to know about God or cultivate knowledge about God. Then they will, because they do not have knowledge about God, they will not surrender to God. So that category is called Muda. This word specifically, Muda, is used by Krishna. Muda means fools, who are hardworking like asses. Second category of people who do not surrender to the Lord is actually Naradama, means uncivilized people, considered as the lowest of mankind. People who are not civilized. People sometimes they are the remote part, they do not know, they kill all the animals and eat. Uncivilized or lowest of mankind, Naradama. And third is intelligent people. Actually, Maya Partha Jnana means misled intellectuals of society. They may be scientists, they may be philosophers, or they may be poets. They have very high intelligence, but their intelligence is covered by that Maya, which Krishna talked about. Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durateya. Because Maya has covered their knowledge, Maya Partha Jnana means the Jnana is covered by Mala. They are misled intellectuals of society, the so-called intellectuals. Like we had Stephen Hawking, the big scientist, but he thought that there is no God. So this misled intellectual society, they also not surrender to God. Maya, Apartha, third category. Fourth, it Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha, envious of God. People do not like. The moment you speak about cinema, politics, they sit and listen to you. But if you talk about God, they either they leave your home or they will cut the phone. So Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha. They are like called Asuras or demons, who proclaim that there is no God, I am God, who proclaim themselves to be God, who disregard the presence of God, who claim we are the products of chemicals. Life came from combination of two chemicals, but they never proved in the laboratory by mixing chemical and generating life. But they tell that this world is created by the combination of chemicals. So, Asuram, Bhavam, Ashrita, demons. So these four people do not surrender to Krishna. Now, Krishna is also talking about four kinds of pious people. Pious means people who are doing good things. Pious people who try to surrender to God or approach God. So, Artha. What is Artha means? I have so many problems. Health problem, monetary problem, family problem, job, employment problem. So, I have so much misery in my life because of all these problems. Because of that, to solve my problem, I am going to God. That is called Artha, distressed persons. Okay, that is one category of people who approach God. And Artharthi means people want to become wealthy in this world. They say money is sweeter than honey. So they want more wealth. For that, they go to all the temples and they pray, they do a lot of sacrifice. Artharthi means they are desirous of wealth. They also go to God. And Jijnashu, somebody want to know, I want to know some knowledge about God. Who is he? Why did he create this world? Curious people, they want to know about everything. The moment you talk about things, can you give me some more information? They're called inquisitive people, very interested people, Jijnasu, they're curious people. They also approach God for knowledge. And the fourth category, Jnani, the one who is in search of knowledge, one who wants to know really about wisdom, knowledge, God, about human life, everything. They also approach God or try to surrender to God. Okay, so, but in this four category, people who are going with pure devotion, pure bhakti is very rare. That is 7.19. Bahunam Janmanam Ante. See, Bahunam means many birth. Janmanam after many birth. Ante after that. After many birth. Jnanavan, not normal people. The Jnani, which was told in this previous word, Jnani, what is this? After his many birth, the Jnani, Mam Prapadyate, he will go and surrender to Krishna. Mam Prapadyate. And he will tell, Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Everything is Vasudeva. Everything is Krishna's energy. Everything is Krishna. Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Everything is Krishna. He will tell like that. Not immediately, after many birth. Sa Mahatma. Like that Mahatma, to see Mahatma means great souls. Sudurlabha. Like that great soul to see in this world is very rare. Durlabha means rare. Sudurlabha means very rare. That's why you cannot see to get a pure devotee in this world who goes to God without any intention, only to show love to him, gratitude to him, even if he is put into tremendous suffering, still he will love God. That kind of love God and serve God. That kind of soul is not very easy to see in this world. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. And how did this soul also come? After many births, he understood that Krishna is the source of everything. That's why people pray to so many gods, but not to Krishna so easily. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes. Vasudevam Sarvamiti. And all that is, such a great soul is very rare. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. This is Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 19th verse. Okay. So if you take a family of 9 sons, very beautiful family, Krishna conscious family. I think this family is from taken picture from Russia. So they never know about, they did not hear about Krishna. But, after hearing this knowledge, they become Krishna devotees. A very nice devotees, There are more than like 5 lakh devotees of Krishna in Russia currently. So if you take a family of 7 sons, first son is obedient to the parent. Example is an example. Obedient to parents, and parents have given him responsibility to take care of the younger brothers. The elder son is having the responsibility. Second son is a troublemaker, selfish, and have rejected his parents. Second son is troublesome. Third to fourth, fifth son, distress, need of money, and need for an answer. Sixth son is motive to serve parents but was not trained to do so. Seventh son, his life was dedicated in serving parents. So 7 children, 7 characteristics based on Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. So here, the first son represents demigods. That means they are taking care of all their souls. Okay, obedient to parents. Okay, and second son is 4 kinds of impious people which Krishna is talking about. Asuram Bhavam, Asitaha, Maya, Aparta, Jnana, all this, the second son is troublemaker, selfish, and have rejected his parents. And third to sixth son is 4 kinds of pious people, Artho, Arthaji, Jinyasu, Jnani. The fourth is actually the distress, needs of money, and the need for answer. Sixth son motive was to serve parents but was not trained yet to do. Okay. And the seventh son is a pure devotee of the Lord. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Life was dedicated in serving the parents. So this is the seventh son. So as a family has different kinds of son, the Supreme Father God, the Supreme Lord has so many children in this material world who are like, some are like first son, some are like second son, some are like third son, fourth son, fifth son, some are like seventh son. So it is mixed here. So every category of people you can find here. So here Arjuna is pondering again, what about other devatas such as Brahma, Shiva, etc. So now when the question comes about demigods, so Arjuna is thinking, what about demigods? The last section here, the demigods, verses number 20 to 30, Krishna is discussing demigods, verses 20 to 30. Practically speaking, even a mere acceptance of God is propitious achievement in this age. See, forget about Krishna as Supreme Lord. In this age, even if you believe in the existence of God, that is a great thing. This acceptance, however, is not enough. Only acceptance is not enough. One must gain accurate and precise understanding. We should not need knowledge. Sentiment worship will not help us. If you are to be operated on, you would insist a surgeon be well versed in the details and intricacies of the process. If at all we are going to operation, we make sure that the doctor is very much qualified. We say, this doctor performed 500 operations successfully. Then you are faithfully going there. So it is after all a matter of life and death. Similarly, simply to believe in God is not enough. One must understand his nature, personality. Towards the end of this chapter, Krishna established the monotheism. Monotheism means single God philosophy. We are normally criticized by other religions that we are polytheistic, means we worship many gods. Whereas Christians worship one God, Islam worship one God, but they say, Hinduism means polytheistic. Because we worship so many gods. Sometimes we worship trees, rivers, mountains, plants, like that. So, but here Krishna is establishing monotheism, means single God, and distinguishes demigods. So there are many gods, of course, that is also right, but those categories called as demigods or devatas, as powerful entities. Who are they? They are in charge of these material affairs, who are in no way, shape, they are not equal to the Supreme Lord. Like they say in Islam, there is no God but Allah, equal to him. Like that, the Supreme Lord, nobody is equal. Demigods are there. They are higher than us, but they are not equal to the Supreme Lord. Such dangerous misconceptions are cleared up as they have potential to impede the spirit of a pure devotion. So those things are clarified by Krishna in this chapter, in 7th. This very, very important chapter. Later you can read these verses to get more clarity exactly what Krishna is speaking. Why doesn't everybody take shelter of Krishna? Question 1. Because of material desire. Because we have so much things to enjoy. That's why we are not taking full shelter of Krishna. Their intelligence is lost, now looking for quick material results. That is 7.20. Krishna is telling why they are not coming to me, because they want to enjoy this material world. So they go to some devata to get some boon in order so that they want quick results. Question 2, why demigod worshippers are called less intelligent? Here Krishna is telling, see here, less intelligent. That word is used. Not fully intelligent, because they are taking shelter of demigod. Why they are called less intelligent? Because whatever the demigod will give you, it is limited. It is for some time, maybe a promotion, maybe an increment, or maybe helping in some education or getting some good grade. But it is temporary. And we are ignorant of the Supreme Lord. And ultimate result will not go to Krishna, because Krishna is saying those who worship demigod will go to the demigod planets. But those who worship me, they come to my abode, which is kingdom of God. So they will not go there. And what is the difference between a demigod and a jivatma like us? Okay, jivatma is also like we are jivatma. The demigods are also jivatma. But what is the difference? Demigods are higher than us. They are administrative representatives of Supreme Person. They are actually empowered by the Supreme Lord to conduct this material world. Like in a company, there is a owner, there is a CEO, there is finance manager, admin manager, quality control manager, production manager. So everything is under the control of the CEO. So like that, here you can see CEO means controller, enjoyer, owner is Krishna. Below him, there are many things, many demigods to administer this material universe with various functions. For education, we have to go to Mother Saraswati. For strength, we have to go to Hanuman, like that. So, but both are Jiva Tattva only. We are Jiva Tattva, the demigods also Jiva Tattva. They are also energy of God, we are also energy of God. They are also within this material world, 14 planetary system, we are also in this material world. They are also dependent on Supreme Lord, we are also dependent on Supreme Lord. So why this demigod worship is condemned? Why it is condemned? We can go to demigod and always ask pure devotion. That is not wrong. But if you are going to demigod and you are approaching for material desire, demigods cannot give benediction without permission of the Supreme Lord. One thing we should understand, whatever we are getting by the demigod also, that is given sanctioned by Supreme Lord. Without his sanction, nothing can happen. Without the Supreme Lord sanction, even a blade of glass will not move. So demigod worship is material. Worship of the Supreme Lord is spiritual. So when you are worshipping demigod, it is a kind of material worship. Whereas when you worship Supreme Lord, it is spiritual. Verse number 22. So how the Lord facilitates demigod worship? He empowers the demigods to have certain function. Like you see, Mother Saraswati is empowered to give education to the living entities. So Mother Lakshmi is empowered to give wealth to the persons who are praying to her. Empowers, that power is given by the Supreme Lord and instills faith in the practitioner. Like the owner has given all the powers to the CEO that you can run the company on my behalf. So the CEO can take any decision. But anytime that power can be withdrawn by the owner. Tomorrow that owner can tell, no, I will not put you as CEO. From tomorrow you become admin manager. So then immediately the powers are withdrawn. Like that, Krishna can give powers, more powers to demigod. Sometimes he can withdraw also. What is the understanding of the pure devotee? Pure devotee does not go to the demigods for material needs. Of course, he will respect the demigods, but he will not go for any material needs. But he will depend on the Supreme Lord and he is satisfied with whatever he is having in this life and knows that everything comes from the Supreme Lord and does not ask for material benefit. This is pure devotion. Conclusion, demigod worship, you already saw it is material. Supreme Lord is actually spiritual. And whatever result we get from demigod is perishable, but what we get from Lord is eternal. So, pure devotee depends on the Supreme Lord and is satisfied with whatever he gives. These are all verses you can see within the bracket, 7.20 to 23, 7.22. This all message is given by Krishna in these verses. We are only reading the translation because it's very, very important section. There are so much confusions regarding this understanding of demigods and the Supreme Lord. Krishna very clearly says you can open any Bhagavad Gita. Even if you don't want to open ISKCON Bhagavad Gita, you can go open online any Bhagavad Gita. See what is Krishna is saying in that verses. We know basic Sanskrit. We can understand Krishna is talking about the demigods very clearly. Conclusion, Krishna is imperishable, is unborn, infallible, and he knows past, present, and future, 7.24 to 26. Krishna cannot be understood by mental speculation or by simply discussing Vedic literature. But the Supreme Lord can be understood only by devotion. Very important. So, the demigod worshippers, what are the nature? They follow the karma kanda path. They are attracted to material enjoyment and they want quick result. Their philosophy is all the God is same, whether Krishna or Ganesha or Kartikeya, all the God is same. They accept demigod as equal to Krishna. Okay, and they devote to a particular demigod and they think this world is for the enjoyment and their goal is dharma, artha, kama. They want to have a righteous life, they want to earn good wealth and they want to enjoy this material world. And their mentality is I am the enjoyer and desire superior enjoyment in higher planets and perform some sacrifice. But what will be the result of demigod? People are worshipping demigod. What will be the ultimate result? He achieves a higher planetary system. He can go to the higher planets, Swargaloka also, and enjoys until his pious results. Until he is having that punya quota, he will be in the higher planets. After that quota is finished, he cannot be liberated. He will come to again to the earthly planet to continue his karmic this one. He will come to the middle planetary system. That will be the result of worshipping demigods. Now, with this concept, you have to understand very clearly the compassionate logic of demigod worship. Now, there is a question, is 60% score good or bad? If you are getting, in any subject, like you are getting 60%, we are evaluating it is good or bad. So, for one who is capable of scoring 40%, so far this person, candidate has only scored 40%, he is now scoring 60%, means it is excellent. We have to really appreciate. For one who is capable of scoring 80%, but means he is feeling dejected, oh, I lost my mark, my capability 80%, now I come down to 60%, it is undesirable. Same way, demigod worship is good or bad. If you ask, somebody will ask a question from the scriptural point of view, for atheists who does not believe in God and for materialistic people who want to enjoy this material world, it is recommended. Yes, if you are atheist, better accept some authority, believe that there is some God. No need to come to Krishna, no need. At least believe there is a higher power. It is good for you. And for materialistic people who want to enjoy this material world, which is full of miseries, but still they want to enjoy, they can go to the demigods. Yes, it is better go to some God, ask something, leave this world, leave, whatever way. But somebody who is serious spiritual seeker, who want to take spiritual life, it is discouraged. It is like 80% you want to go down. Because if you go to a demigod, they cannot give you liberation from this material world. They can give you some material benefits. But moksha, they cannot liberate you from the cycle of birth and death. That's why one of the name of Krishna is called Mukunda. What is Mukunda meaning? Giver of liberation. The name Mukunda refers to giver of liberation. You can go to any demigod, you can worship them, you can get a lot of material benefits, but you'll be still implicated in the cycle of birth and death. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janane, jatare sayanam. Ye samsare, bahudustare, kripaya pahi, pahi murare. Murare, Krishna only can liberate you from this cycle of birth and death. So this is demigod worship. Those who are not at all doing any worship, for them demigods are recommended, but those who are on the spiritual path, who want to get liberated from this entanglement of cycle of birth and death, definitely they have to go to the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. An acronym, we have completed today's session. Acronym, hearing, we understood hearing, how much is hearing very important to get the knowledge of the absolute. And we can see God everywhere by the taste of water, by strength of man, and the light of the sun. Raso Mapsu Kaunteya Prabhasmi Sasi Suryo Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. So Krishna is saying material energy also. Whenever we drink water, when we think about Krishna, that is Krishna consciousness. So by material things, if you see sun, you think, oh, this is Krishna's energy. Bhumi Raponala Vayu Kamano Buddhi Revacha. So even in this material world, we can remember Krishna by seeing these material energies. Whenever we drink water, see the light, like that. And there are 4 categories of people who accept Krishna. Artho, Arthachi, Jnani, Jijnasu, Jnani. 4 people accept. And 4 people, Namam Duskritno Muda Prapadyante Naradam. 4 categories, they reject God. And who are demigods? Very, very important section, because we think that all gods are same. But Krishna is telling not all gods are same. There are category of demigods who run this material world, who are empowered by me to run this material world. And if you worship a demigod, you are getting that faith because of me. If somebody so much dedicated to Kartikeya, that faith to Kartikeya comes because of Krishna. Because Krishna is saying, within the heart, I am sitting and I am strengthening his faith to the demigod because he is attached to the demigod. But he is saying, their fruits are temporary. It is perishable. And you will not be able to get liberation. So best option is, you come to me. I will protect you. I will give you whatever you want. Yoga Kshema Mahamyam. So basically, Krishna is establishing the truth, and basically, Krishna is telling the what is good for us. So somebody who is not accepting the authority, for them demigods, at least something is accepting, is okay. But who are on the serious spiritual seekers, they are not supposed to go to any demigod if they want to get liberation from this material existence. Of course, there is nothing wrong if you go to a demigod and offer your respects. You are an empowered servant of Krishna. So please help me to develop devotion or love to the Supreme Lord Krishna. In that way, we can pray. There is no harm. You can go to any demigod temple and pray. So in that way, we have to understand. So we are ending with a short video here, 2 minutes video. So let us see here.
There are 3 basic views of the world we live. One is the very materialistic view, wherein people see the world as the only real reality. Others is a Mayavad view, that the world is an illusion. And the third is the Vaishnava view, that the world is the sacred property of God. It is real, but it is temporary in its manifestations. If this world is the only reality, then who cares? If we become millionaires and billionaires, it really doesn't matter how many people suffer, because ultimately it's about me. That's the world is the only reality. And if the world is an illusion, then let's just meditate and get out of this contaminated, filthy world forever and let people do whatever they want with it. I'm out. But this Vaishnava philosophy, this Gita philosophy, is such an incredible key to the future of life, both in this world and beyond. In order to actually go beyond and actually get out of this world and attain prema and go to Krishna's abode, we have to, while in this world, treat it as God's sacred property and treat every living being as God's sacred children.
So that is how everybody has their own view of this world. So we can understand. Some people say there is no God. Some people say this world is not good. But we see, as a Vaishnava point of view, we see that this world is a sacred property of God. And we have to treat everyone equally and use whatever is property in the service of the Lord and get out of this entanglement and go back to kingdom of God. And this is summary of chapter 7, this which I will share with you. And you can go through. Krishna is talking about impersonality, surrendering to demigod. Whatever we discussed today, that's a summary study in one slide. You can go through this later. And the summary of chapter 7, again, description is there. I will post this also. You can go through. So this is what we have discussed today. And I have taken references from many sources. Gita Life by Soulless Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Swami, Evolve Pune, Materials by Grace Madan Gopal Prabhu, and Grace Amityananda Prabhu. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions, we can ask now. Next week, we are going to discuss same time, Friday evening, 6 p.m. local time. 8th chapter, Attaining the Supreme. How to attain the spiritual abode or kingdom of God. So, Krishna is going to discuss about that, how to attain the Supreme. So, that's a very interesting topic. Krishna will be speaking about Vapi Smaranam Tajantante Kalevaram. That we will discuss next week, 6 p.m. So, please, all everybody, please attend that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, devotees, I hope you understood whatever discussed. Definitely, you will be having some questions or queries. If you have any questions, queries, or comments, please feel free to express, unmute your mic, and you can ask the questions or you can type in the chat box. Hare Krishna. Or even you can share some of devotees, what are the take-home lessons you have understood from this chapter. So feel free to share any points which you have learned today, which was enlightening you, which was inspiring you, which added more clarity to you. Hare Krishna. So there are a lot of devotees, Sangeet Prabhu, Popo Prabhu, Guruseva Prabhu, iPhone, Gita, Prakash and Kiran, Ravi Prabhu, Sanjay Kaur Prabhu, Rangarnath Murari Prabhu, Smith Chotani Vaishnav. So, Gula Mataji. So, have any questions? No questions?
Hare Krishna, bro.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. This chapter is not especially giving for the starting the bhakti yoga. It is like a seed giving verses, and also for the very very important to understand for the supreme personal God and demigod. What is the differentiation? Before starting
Yes,
the bhakti, at least those who are coming in Krishna consciousness, so they are very fortunate because they are understanding. So what to ask, where to ask, is how to ask. So this
yes,
also very giving verses from the 7th chapter, and
yes,
also even demigod worships generally in people in society. Now people they want to get quick results, material results. So
materialism.
they
Yes,
so mostly they are worshipping like this Lord Ganesha, Kartikeya, and this Lord Shivas because they need immediate effect.
yes, yes,
Krishna is saying, no, so this all are this my energy only, and they are empowered by me only. So these verses come from these chapters, and also really this excellent information. So they get more deeper meaning to
yes.
differentiation
One
between.
thing we should note that Krishna is starting the bhakti yoga process. So in the beginning itself, he is differentiating the demigods so that we should not get confused. That's why in the before in the beginning of bhakti yoga itself, he is telling there are demigods that is different, and the bhakti is actually different. So that when we understand the difference, otherwise we may get confused.
Confused this one.
Yes.
So this
Because our
second,
culture, normally from childhood, we are instructed to pray to so many gods. We do not know the philosophy, but because our parents said and something, we are praying. But the scripture, Bhagavad Gita, gives a clear distinction and establishes that there is one Supreme Lord and there are innumerable demigods to manage these material affairs. And they are also like our Jiva Tattvas, like Jivatma like us, but they are higher than us. In the administrative power, they are higher than us.
higher
They are
than
able to control us. They are able to control us, actually.
also again this again four kind of people they are coming to close to Krishna. Another four
Yes.
kind of people he is not accepting. So these are also main differentiations. Actually,
Yes, very important.
Bhakti Yoga is very start giving this chapter before starting Bhakti. So this chapter is very important for
Very, very
coming
important.
over.
It's like
Yeah,
foundation to the Bhakti Yoga.
who are entering this Bhakti. So this chapter is giving enlightenment to get more faith about this Supreme Lord. So
Yes.
in this way, this chapter is very important. So you are given nice way, nice analogies, and nice presentations, and also a lot of slides, insights taken from various sides and various speakers, and from the various this philosophical. It can come through giving more faith and also more strong conviction. So bhakti is the topmost yoga system, and we can start with bhakti this from this chapter. Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhu. Excellent presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, bro. Thank you for your encouragement, for your feedback, for sharing your understanding also. So we should always understand this was a wonderful knowledge will always help us, inspire us, motivate us, and also get connected to the Lord. And let us continue the path, or Bhagavad Gita path, on path of Bhakti Yoga by discussing on chapter 8 coming week. So if there are no further questions or discussions, I'd like to thank you all for your kind participation week after week. And we'll meet you again. Until that time, have a safe week ahead. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpataribhascha kripa sindhu vyocha padidana pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Kodi Vaishnavanta ki jai. Gardhara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So I will end the session now.